Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth installation of our ink reviews for Disney Lorcana's third set into the Inklands. I am joined by Franz from the Traverse Tavern today. Franz, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well, Teddy. I hope everyone else is having a great day as well. My name obviously is Franz. I run a YouTube channel called the Traverse Tavern where I try to go over everything competitive in a very digestible way to new TCG players, to new players in general, people who may not have played TCGs in a long time. I want to try to get as much of the competitive mindset across to them as possible while keeping it in a digestible and positive manner, really.
Awesome. So, yeah, two very competitive oriented channels with the Glimmer Gang and Traverse Tavern for sure. But we are here today to talk about the Ruby cards. Obviously, we all know how good Ruby is in the first two sets with Ruby Amethyst running. And to be honest, it got better. There are cards in here that make that deck better, make Ruby better as an ink overall. But the first card we're going to talk about is Ariel, Adventurous Collector. She's a three-costed inkable, 2/3 for one lore. She has evasive and inspiring voice. Whenever you play a song, a chosen character of yours gains evasive until the start of your next turn. So, in that theme of all the Ariels we have seen, interacts with songs. In some matter, and giving characters evasive is not bad. We know we have cards that obviously like the mini that was from that is evasive, that is a big staple in decks, and I don't mind the card. I know obviously the biggest song in Ruby is Be Prepared, and there's other ones as well. Obviously, when it's paired with Amethyst, but I'm 50-50. I don't know how I feel about the card yet. Yet, Franz, how do you feel?
I think this is probably one of the most generically good cards in Ruby. If we go down about 4 or 5 sets down the road, and there are like only 2 to 3 cards from this set still being played because of either power creep or just moving in a different direction, I think Ariel is going to be one of those. It's a decent stat line for the cost, especially as an evasive card. I do wish it had two lore. I would have rather it be like a 1/3 for two for with two lore, kind of like the mini. However, um, one of the most interesting techs in Ruby Amethyst right now is Peter Pan Shadow, and a lot of the time, Peter Pan Shadow coming down when your opponent does not have Peter Pan Shadow often wins the game. Now this isn't exactly the same. It only gives it for the turn, but it does give that little extra bit of utility to take out your opponent's minis, as well as just being just a generally good card in general. And paired with Amethyst, we have like Friends on the Side. We're
Hmm.
gonna have Bosses on a Roll this
Yeah.
set. And I think almost every single color just has some good songs. So I do think this is a good card. I'm very high on this card.
Well, there you have it, folks. I trust Franz when he says stuff, so I'm gonna say Ariel, get your playset because it will probably stick around for a while. But Franz, what card do we have next?
Moving right along, we have Billy Bones, Keeper of the Map, with some fantastic art from a
Oh
fantastic movie,
yeah.
by the way. 5 cost, inkable, 6/5, one more. This is a vanilla. It's the one of the stat lines that we've seen before. Vanillas, vanillas, vanilla. I don't really have much to say about vanillas. I usually stop thinking about vanillas as playable cards past like turn 2 or 3, really. Specifically in Lorcana, because of the tempo nature, especially in the first 2 sets. Maybe it moves away from that a little bit in set 3. But I found that once you're getting into the 5 drops, you're starting to, like 5 drops in Beyond. You're starting to not want to play cards that don't do anything immediately or do something insane, right?
Yeah.
So last set we saw Beast Tragic Hero as like a very very good card, specifically because it drew 2 cards if it wasn't damaged. But a lot of players will know, especially if they're playing against steel heavy metas, that playing beast on 5 and then getting it, and then just some small bit of damage being put onto it, it feels kind of bad to play to
Yeah.
play it. So once you start getting into cards with actually no effects, I think it's a vanilla, guys. It's a vanilla common. You'll have 50 of these in your bulk binder.
Yeah.
Enjoy the art. It's good art.
Yeah, I do love the art. Something I will bring up, I believe it was Liam from the Illuminators that mentioned this, but I could be wrong where I'm pulling this from. As a pirate, we do have the Jolly Roger.
Yeah,
So if you do want to build a pirate deck, you can basically turn this into a Maui. But then again, there's other stuff that's better to play. Yeah, Billy Bones, just a fun big body. If you want something in limited with a big body, here you go. But there are better things, I think, for that. But we do have another pirate next. This is Captain Hook, Master Swordsman, another 5 cost inkable, 5/4 with 1 lore. Nemesis. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, rated this character he can't quest for the rest of your turn. Man to man, characters named Peter Pan lose evasive and can't gain evasive. I like the first ability just because I feel like we're trending towards a challenge matters archetype deck, or not deck, meta. But then again, we still have cards that like steel that really don't care about challenging, or we have aggro decks that don't care that much and are just questing. And the second ability is so narrow when you're looking for one card. This is just meant for I feel like fun uh, play. And I mean, if we see like in a future set where Peter Pan, there's like a Peter Pan legendary that's absolutely insane and has evasive, maybe we see this see play. But then again, this is so narrow, and I just don't think cards like this can see play yet.
yeah. I think it's interesting that it has like the Scar ability from last set, pretty
Hmm.
much without Rush.
Yeah.
I wish they kind of future proof, like they proved not even future proofed, current proofed it by saying like just whenever this card banishes something in a challenge, because like you said, challenge matters in this meta, but mostly challenge matters when it comes to trying to take out locations before they get too steamrolly. Other than that, like this still forces your opponent to either um, technically misplay, or you have cards that are able to exert something. It's too niche for me. It's a decent rare, decent stats for the cost, but there are other things that we're doing.
Yeah. Lots of other stuff, obviously, on turn 5. In all reality, unless you're playing a pirate deck, you're going to want, in any regular deck, you're going to want to be playing Maui, more or less, on turn 5. Dragonfire, maybe. Lots of other better stuff than this. But what card do we have next?
All right, we have Adela Duck, Unstoppable Mom, 2 cost uninkable 3/3 with Reckless. This is just worse Gaston from set one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, for a second there, I heard you say Adela Duck, and I'm like, hold on.
That
Adele's in this set? That's new.
would
But
be
yeah,
unfortunate. But yeah, this is
a
just
worse
worse
guess.
than
Yeah.
Gaston. Like the three body might save you sometimes into storage, which would have been important in set one. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
I probably would have played this in set one over Gaston. But you know, yeah, it's we're almost 6 months from
Yeah.
set one.
Yeah.
I think we can move on from these types of effects. Cards not that good.
Yeah. And obviously, you're going to see effects like this in all sets, I
Yeah.
think. And stuff that you're just going to say, oh, cool. Okay, that's going in your bulk, essentially. But the next card we have is Hey Hey, Accidental Explorer, 2 costed, inkable, 3/2 with 1 lore, mindless wandering. Once per turn, when this character moves to a location, each opponent loses 1 lore. I want to say the art on this is great. It's so fun just to see different stuff like this. Hey Hey, just
Oh
lost
yeah.
in the coconut in the ocean. I don't honestly mind the ability. I think this works well in obviously location heavy decks. You're looking at cart like locations that cost less. The cost 1 to move to because you can move this there and people are losing lore. I don't mind it. Does it have a place in the meta right now? I don't think so. I would on because obviously you can do it multiple times, which is nice. But then again, it's 2 willpower. It dies to a lot of removal, spot removal, and even direct removal and stuff like that. So the overall design of the card, I do like. I think the 3 strength is really nice, just because we all know that's kind of the magic number we have to hit.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
any thoughts on this guy?
I am so close to calling this sneaky playable. Oh, but because of the fact it doesn't have the same condition as Cusco Llama from last set. If it
Mm,
was just when banished, each opponent loses 1 lore. I think this is a good card. Like it's a 2 drop that has the better than a vanilla stat line that
yeah.
Simba has, just flipped, and Simba is played in most Amber decks to this day, and probably will still continue to be
Uh huh.
played. Um, it's a very very good for the cost stat line. I just it's the ability's just a bit too niche, I think, for consideration. This feels like a pretty good limited card, though. Shout out to
Yeah.
Knives Nerd Corner. Draft this, I think.
Yeah. I think this is if you do like if you find yourself with some good locations in your deck and you wanna because we all know unlimited basically you're trying to control the board for one, have more characters out. That's always the best way to limit limited. But if you're able to keep your opponent at bay with lore and just hold them off a few more turns, that can win you the game. So yeah, if you want to build a locations matters deck, grab yourself some haze. They're uncommon, so it shouldn't be that hard to get.
Exactly. All right. Moving on, we have Hydra, Deadly Serpent from Hercules. I absolutely love this include, and I just want to mention I love the frame breaks on this
Oh
legendary.
yes.
But
Any
has
legendary looks
like
amazing to frame
hashtag bring
breaks.
back the sword. I want the sword. That was for like 2 weeks. I thought that was official. By the way,
Oh.
I thought that just was the card, and I was like, this is so cool. But yeah, 6 cost uninkable, 6/5, very good stats for the cost. 2 lore. Whenever this character is dealt damage, deal that much damage to a chosen opposing character. I,
Yeah.
I a lot of people are trying this, and I commend them for trying it. However, I think this is bad. I
Agreed.
I think it doesn't do anything on 6, and like I said, like once you're getting into that 5 or greater, if you're just playing a card and doing nothing, either you're already ahead on board and you're winning anyway, or you're behind on board and you're losing.
Yeah.
and
Like
this does nothing to stop it.
no.
Um, Maybe in the future, similar to Beast Relentless, right? Last set where it just wasn't good in the set it was released in.
Hmm.
But future support makes some crazy combos that make it very good. I see some potential of that in this card. Just right now, no. I would probably wait for this card to dip to Beast Relentless prices. I should mention Beast Relentless prices 2 weeks ago.
We
Um,
both ordered them when they were like $8,
I
and
got them for sixes. It's fine. Um, but yeah, so if you want to get this card for future proofing, I totally think it's fine. However, I do not think it's going to be seeing much play this set.
no, yeah, I agree with your point. This could be the Beast Relentless if we see. I mean, we have Teeth and Ambitions, which is really the only self damaging card we have. So if
Yeah,
we see more stuff where self damaging is prevalent, and we see that type of archetype, I personally don't like that type of archetype in TCGs, but it is something that is a part of all of them.
yeah,
uh, then yes, this card becomes great. But if you see any legendary that you think has the possibility of being good, that's under $10, pick it up because we're only in set 3, and we for, we have sets. We've been told they have up to set 6. I guarantee you they're working on sets into 2025.
for
With how
sure.
successful this game has been so far, obviously that there are bumps and bruises, but this game is going places. Get your Hydras if you can. Try to get them cheap before something like this comes around one day, because we saw Beast Relentless. You didn't think it was going to be that good. We got Nottingham and Bayou, and there's a fun little combo there.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
All right. So the next card we have is one I am personally excited for if locations work. It is Jim Hawkins, Space Traveler, 5 cost, Inkable, 4/4 with 2 lore. This is it. When you play this character, you may play a location with cost 4 or less for free. Take the helm whenever you play a location. This character may remove there for free. So this is supposed to work hand in hand with RLS Legacy, which we'll talk about a little later. I I honestly do like it. I think this could potentially go into locations matters deck. I think as we get more locations in the future, this card just gets better because sooner or later we're going to get a busted location. It just has to happen.
I think we
This
already have
set,
one, to be fair.
hmm?
I think we already have a busted location, to be
That
fair.
is true. That is true. Uh, but yeah, I mean, this is just one of those cards that gets better and better. We're going to get a location that works even more synonymously with this, even though I don't really know if anything but RLS Legacy can work better with this because they're from the same damn movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This card's good. This card is good. It is similar to set one Aerial in that any single location that comes out, you like, especially if it's exactly 4 cost, you're immediately thinking of Jim Hawkins and how
Mm,
it could possibly work with Jim Hawkins. I think there are two currently very good locations in RLS Legacy and Queen's Castle, I think it's called. Uh,
yes,
yeah,
the
Queen's
Queen's
Castle.
Castle Mirror
Yeah,
Chamber. Yep.
Queen. That and RLS Legacy and Queen's Castle, I think, are fantastic plays with Jim Hawkins.
Uh huh.
Um, whether or not that translates to meta contention play rate now, I can't be sure yet. However, this is just a well designed card, fantastic art, better stats than I would have expected for an ability like this, and just some very good abilities, and just you know that that eventually locations are going to go into a situation where you see locations that are like, when this character moves here, gain a lore. When this character moves here, opponent loses a lore. When this character moves here, draw a card or gain the lore on this location, stuff like that. And this card is just a combo enabler with that. I'm absolutely trying to find 4 of these as soon as possible.
Yeah, agreed. I think this is definitely one to, if you are drafting and maybe you aren't trying to, obviously you're going for the win, but if you have the opportunity to grab this in a draft, grab it.
I think this is pretty good in the draft too, especially because
Honestly, yeah.
there are common locations, right? Just throw it on there, man.
Yeah. I mean, and if you can find an RLS Legacy in your rare slots, even better. Like if you, and obviously 40 card deck, 2 cards, there's a very slim shot you see those at the same time, but still, hey, grab it if you can. But yeah, Jim Hawkins, I like this a lot, just like you said.
Yep. Moving on, we have Jim Hawkins, Thrill Seeker, 2 cost Inkable, 3/2 1 lore. Similar to what I said earlier, this is the quote unquote better than a vanilla stat line, but it's on a vanilla, so there are better cards to play.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, this is just a vanilla. This is maybe a good body in limited, just
Shout out
being
to
able to.
Marcel Berg, having some of my absolute favorite arts
Oh
with
yes,
this
he
and
is
Forceful Duelist.
nuts. Oh yeah, you're right. He does have Forceful Duelist.
Yeah,
Uh,
fantastic artist. One of my favorite in Lorcana.
yeah, he's amazing. But like I was saying, this is not a bad body for limited, just because it's hitting that 3 threshold again. But
Mhm.
so not a bad vanilla to throw in a deck, but not something I'm looking for right out of the gate.
Yeah,
The next card we have is an uninkable 3 cost Kakamora Menacing Sailor. I love that they included this in the set. This is
yeah,
amazing. 3 strength, 2 willpower, 1 lore. Plunder. When you play this character, each opponent loses 1 lore. Honestly, I think this is just a worse Aladdin from set one. To be honest, the
yeah. The card's not
three
good.
yeah.
The card is not
No,
good.
it's not. And it's the 3 willpower, I guess. Their strength is 9, but no, it's not inkable. The other Aladdin, yet it's a cost less. It does. Yes, it doesn't have one It only has 2 strength, but it has the same ability and it's inkable. So
There are better cards for the ability. There are better cards for the stats. There are better cards at 3 cost specifically. This card is just not good. All right.
yeah,
Moving along, we actually have a very interesting card in Madame Medusa the Boss. 6 cost, uninkable, 4/4, 1 lore. When you play this character, banish chosen opposing character with 3 strength or less. Now, this is the Lady Tremaine of the set. 1 more strength, 1 less lore, but the ability to take out something that you choose with 3 strength or less. I've seen a lot of people say that this is a strict upgrade to Tremaine, and that is incorrect. But I do think that this has a lot of uses. There are a lot of cards in this set, specifically like Ursula, any of the smaller the smaller cost Jafars that people are trying to shift into. Even stuff like Ariel. This hits pretty easily. Even if people are still playing big bodies like Ursula, this still hits. Very interesting card. I don't know. I think it'll be a very meta dependent strategy where you're either playing this or Tremaine. Currently, I like Tremaine for a few reasons. One, it has 2 lore. 2, it is a shiftable card. Being able to play Tremaine, shift Tremaine on the same turn. I think that is a better um, card currently than this. However, this is definitely a card that should see play in the future, if not right away. It's a very solid card, very solid.
yeah. I the first thing I saw people say is this is just a worse Tremaine, and I even think I said it in our in the Illuminary Gazette video that we put out when this card was released, because this was, I believe, the last super rare we got. This was in that last chunk of cards that we got revealed in
Yes,
the
yes.
Discord, and I think people's first reaction was this is just a worse Tremaine. It's not. I do think this is not, this is a pretty good card in my opinion, uh, because one, you get to choose, and with Tremaine you don't get to choose.
Oh, also, just quick thing. Another thing that Tremaine does differently than this is Tremaine gets around ward. This does not.
Yeah, that is the difference between choosing and having your opponent choose.
Yes.
Uh, so just something to think about in that regard. But I do like this. We see a good amount of cards that have 3 strength less. I believe Tremaine,
Yeah,
unironically,
Tremaine has
has.
3. Tremaine is 3. Yeah.
So there are a good amount of cards that have 3 strength or less that this can target. I mean, or not Medusa. This is Medusa. Or not Maui either. Jeez. What is Mufasa? There we go.
Yeah.
Mufasa is 3 strength. Obviously, banishing him is not the greatest thing in the world, but there are some playable cards that have 3 strength. So maybe I think something I want to test is how the split would work if you're going 2-2, maybe 2 Medusa, 2 Tremaine, maybe 3-3. Maybe you're playing 4-4. That's a lot of unequals though.
I
So I
I
don't know yet.
I don't think a split is correct, mostly because there is going to be a better option in the meta almost always. And if you're trying to split them, you're decreasing the odds of seeing what you want in the correct time, specifically so you can like coverage more. But like I said, I think there will always be a better option based off the wider meta. I think you just need to make
Hmm.
that choice. But I think in Ruby, if you're playing a deck that wants removal, you will always make room for Medusa or Tremaine.
Yes, 100%. Just because, I mean, they're that good. There's no you should play them just because of the effect that they have. It's basically you're playing it down, and you add a body, they remove a body. It
Yeah,
can
pretty much.
switch up the game. But the next card we have is Maui, Soaring Demigod. This is in his bird form. 3 costed, uninkable, 5/2, no lore, reckless, in my belly. Whenever a character of yours named Hey Hey quests, this character gets +1 lore and loses reckless this turn. So just a little Hey Hey synergy there. I mean, we don't really see any Hey Heys being played. I mean, the support one in Amber was played for a hot sec at one point,
No.
but was it not? I, mean, I don't know what I was
It
seeing.
was played when we didn't have the entirety of set one revealed.
Gosh, I'm going back way in the bank then. But yeah, never mind. No Hey Hey's ever been played. Don't listen to me. this card is not good, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's an interesting effect. It just gets to a point where it's like a little bit too bloated and a little bit too specific on what you need on
Hmm.
board. Decent stats for the cost, however, I don't really want a reckless card on a 3-drop uninkable in Ruby. I have a lot more uninkable slots that I could be using for better cards.
Yeah, agreed.
Next is a pretty cool card. Is Maui again, but this time a whale. 7 cost 8/8, 1 lore. With the abilities, this mission is cursed. This character can't ready at the start of your turn, and I got your back. Pay 2 to ready this character. He can't quest for the rest of this turn. Now, there's something to say about having a big body earlier, but I think, man, I think they nerfed him way too much
Hmm.
for a 7-drop. Again, like I was saying earlier, like you don't really want to be playing cards that are doing nothing past like turn 5, and even then turn 5 could be iffy. Now you're waiting to turn 7 to play an 8/8 body that doesn't do anything, and even when it does something, you have to pay 2 to even just get an 8/8 that
Hmm.
can challenge something. It's an interesting card, and I like the way the design is flowing around this, but I think it was just a little bit too much of a nerf on this. I think it's unplayable.
Yeah, they pulled out the dart blaster and just fired a dart and stuck right to this card. They fired the dart, and this is the card that unfortunately it landed on. Yeah, I mean, this is just both Mauis in this set kind of suck, which is unfortunate. But we already have a good Maui.
Yeah.
But I do like the thematics that they put in with the whale and his bird form.
Mhm.
Wonder if we'll see. I would love to see his shark human form one
Oh,
day.
for sure.
That would be awesome. So lots of thematic options, but other than that, yeah, neither of the two Mauis, even though the whale especially, just not that good. The next card we have is Milo Thatch, Spirited Scholar. 2 costed inkable, 2/2, 1 lore. I'm your man. While this character is at a location, he gets +2 strength. Yeah, I don't know. This is just one of those cards. I feel like there's better 2-drops that do better things. If we, like I said, if we see locations and we can make this a 4/2 that like earlier in the game, cool. I'm all for it. But yeah, it's nice that we got Atlantis. I will say that.
This card's vanilla.
It is
This
yeah.
card is so bad. Um, it like no, it's there isn't enough to say about how boring this the at a location gain attack design is.
Hmm.
And I think the only one I would play right now is the one drop mini, because she has 3 willpower and can
Yeah.
sometimes be a 2/3 on one, which is pretty cool. But otherwise, get these out of here. Get these out of my face, please. All right. Moving on, we have another Moana, this time a Floodborn Moana. Moana Born Leader, 5 cost, inkable, 4/4 Floodborn, 2 lore, shift 3. Whenever this character quests while at a location, ready all other characters here. They can't quest for the rest of the turn. I I don't really understand why this was printed.
Yeah.
We already had a larger version of it, and the problem wasn't really the speed, it was more about keeping enough princesses on board that it actually mattered. There was a bit of time in set 1 where princesses was a thing.
Hmm.
It very quickly fell off due to other decks being just better in every single way.
Ruby Amethyst.
um, yeah, just
Sorry there.
this it cool art. I love Grace Tran. Um, but it's just not it's not there. Maybe it could be an interesting draft target. I think this is a pretty cool limited draft target.
Hmm.
But for constructed, I this should not see any play.
No. The next card we have is Moana Untered Voyager. This is not even a shift target for the past
No,
Moana.
no, I'd rather have
Uh,
this on board.
yeah, this is a 4-costed inkable 3/4 with 1 lore with evasive. I mean, this is good for limited. We all know how good evasives can be in limited just because there's not that many, and the evasives aren't the greatest in this set. The bodyguard's actually really good in the set, but that was I mentioned, I believe, in Amber when I did it with Jacob.
Yes.
The bodyguards are good in this set. Evasives, not so much, I don't think. But if you are able to get a few of these in your deck and be able to dance around your opponent's characters, because, like I've mentioned earlier, board control is the best way to win in limited. So having a evasive character, no matter what it's doing, is great. And this isn't a bad body either. So I like in a limited constructed. No.
Like we like to see evasives that have 3 strength or greater,
Mm-hmm.
and it's goofy stats, 1 turn earlier with 1 less
Yeah.
lore. Pretty interesting card. In set 1, this would have seen play.
Oh yes, 100.
Um,
percent
Absolutely would have seen play. Right now, probably not though.
No.
Probably move past this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on, we have Nutsy Vulture Henchman, a 2-cost, 2/3, 1 lore. This is a vanilla. Again,
Woo.
moving on.
Moving on. The next card we have is Peter Pan, Neverland Hero, 3-costed inkable, 1/3 with 2 war with Rush. Over here, when you have a character named Tinkerbell in play, this character gets +2 strength. So if you want to make this 3/3, have a Tinkerbell in play. I guess maybe this is a aggro defense, but then again, the 2 lore is nice, but with 1 strength, where are you really getting with this? I mean, by turn 3, you're seeing stuff that has a lot more strength come down, so it's basically going to take it out, and then uh, your opponent has a character left on board. So personally, I don't like this, but this is a shift target for the next card we'll talk about it here in a few minutes. Thoughts on this, Peter Pan?
I will probably draft this sometime
Sometime.
at some point.
Do we have any Tinkerbell? Oh, we have the Amber Tinkerbell in this set. Is there any other? Uh, just the Amber one. Oh, well, yeah. So not. Oh, never mind. You have the Clever Fairy and
All right.
that's super rare. So if you want to build a little synergy there, cool. But in reality, this feels like uh, the 2 lore is always nice and limited, but other
Yeah.
than that,
It
it
says 2
is a shift.
lore on a lower cost character. We take that.
Exactly.
All right. Next, we have that shift target Peter Pan, Pirate's Bane, 6-cost, 4/5, 2 lore, shift 4 with evasive. And whenever he challenges a pirate character, this character takes no damage from that challenge. Now, this is it. This is very interesting. This is absolutely a draft bomb.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I think. Yeah,
Even yeah.
I'm going to say this is a draft bomb. And it probably sees some sort of experimentation in constructed. In what kind of deck, I'm not sure. But being able to challenge stuff for free essentially is pretty decent, especially when there are pirate decks running around. I
Mm-hmm.
think it will fall under expectations that some people may have for this card, but it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I think this might be like, oh, like you're looking at bomb and it's got a little tab next to it that you can open up and say slight bombs. I think this goes in that category
Yeah.
because the evasive is nice, but obviously that ability is not really doing anything unless your opponent is playing some pirates.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like it in that sense. I am excited to see what it could bring in constructed. If somehow a pirate deck just runs rampant, this will be played right away.
For sure.
Just to combat that, I think a Ruby Steel pirate defense deck, unironically, would be somewhat good just with removal and all that with this. But yeah, Slight Bomb and limited constructed experiment card. I think you summed it
Yep.
up pretty well. The next card, though, is going to be a staple, I believe. This is Prince Eric Expert Helmsman, 4-costed uninkable, 2/2 with 2 lore, surprise maneuver. Whenever this character is banished, you may banish chosen character. Something I've realized is the 4 slot in a lot of decks is a very awkward position to be in because we don't have that many great 4 costs yet. We do have good, like Haram is probably the best one I can think of, but this honestly just makes Ruby Amethyst that much better.
Rabbit, goat.
Rabbit, yeah, goat, okay. Maybe I'm not thinking straight, but the stuff that like is like I feel like a true bomb, I guess, and
Rapunzel.
those. Okay, maybe I am not. It's late, and maybe I've had a long week. Uh,
No, I see what you're saying.
mm-hmm,
It is it's a good card on a not as frequently used curve cost.
mm-hmm.
And it is a very good card. The thing that hesitates me the most, especially in Ruby Amethyst, you are competing with the same slots as two of the potentially best cards
That is
in the
true.
deck that you're almost always mulliganing for, at least one of them, probably
Mm-hmm.
the rabbit. Um, and it also competes for uninkable slots in an already uninkable heavy deck. This is a good card, do not get me wrong. However, I think it is getting a little bit more hype than it's going to deliver on. Being able to banish chosen character, especially if you teeth hand ambition this, take out a small thing and then kill, and then take out a bigger thing, it's gonna feel very good. But I think it's going to happen less than some people think.
Yeah, I could see this possibly going into maybe like a sheer con deck where you want to be challenging, but then
I can see
again,
that.
because that you basically can get rid of 2 things at once, and you get your lore off of
Yeah,
sheer con.
for anything that has two attack, this is death touch essentially.
Yeah. And obviously, like what you can do is you have if there's a bigger character out, just use another character, soften it up, hit it with Eric,
Yep.
and then take out something else. So I am going to disagree with you on the fact that this won't isn't. I think this is getting the hype it deserves.
Hmm.
But I think obviously I've brought this up endless amount of times over on the channel. Is this set needs so much more testing than any other set we've
Oh,
seen,
100%,
and
100%.
just because of locations, but so much new stuff. And that's how it's going to be going forward. Whenever we get new cards, the game was never complete with set 1 and 2. But now we kind of have what the full image of what Lorcana is supposed to look
Yeah,
like.
this is going to be a pretty crazy
Mm-hmm.
set
Yeah,
for
for
testing.
sure.
All right, moving on, we have the card I think I hate the most in the entirety of this game. We have Scroot Backstabber, 5 cost, 2/5, 2 lore. While this character has damage, he gets +3 strength. So
Ugh.
you're telling me this is a 5 cost with less than vanilla stats that when he's damaged, he still becomes a worse vanilla.
I'd
What?
rather play Billy Bones over this.
What? Wait, why? Why is this a card? I don't get it. This is strictly worse than playing a vanilla at all. This is worse than playing Jumba. It's worse than playing Jumba.
Yeah, oh gosh, you're right. Oh gosh. I mean, if all that ends well, does this go into the holding ropes deck? I guess that's the only thing that this card provides is it goes into a holding ropes deck.
Yeah,
But it looks like he's even cutting the rope. So, but I guess it's just bad.
yeah.
This is not
Throw.
good. Rip this
I
card up. Eat this
yeah.
card if you see it.
If anyone is curious about the core of Lorcana trading cards, as well as how many um layers that Ravensburger prints onto these cards, this is a perfect test. Perfect card to test on.
Yeah, but the next card that we have is not the perfect card to test on because this is actually not a bad card. This is Simba, Scrappy Cub, 2 costed, uninkable, 1/1 for 3. Vanilla. This is Pinocchio, but in Ruby, and we see how much play Pinocchio can get in these aggro type decks. And now that we have a card in Ruby, obviously, if Ruby most decks Ruby, there is a very competitive uninkable slot there, but I still like this. I like any card that is able to get you a bunch of lore early. You can say, "Oh, this dies to steel removal." Sure, and most early game cards are going to. Most small cards are going to. This isn't bad in limited either, just because it is a rare, so it's easier to get, and maybe it's thrown into a gauntlet deck. I think that's something that I
Yeah.
have been also thinking of is our Glimmer Gauntlet coming up. This is rare, so it's viable for that too.
So this is funny. Like Ruby Amethyst already had an aggro deck. This just goes into that. Just this
Oh
jumps
yeah.
right into that, into like an Arthur aggro deck. It's a funny card.
Mm,
I quite enjoy it. Now Ruby Amethyst aggro has 8 Pinocchios. I'm so happy to play against this at locals to force me into playing Steel all day every day. I love it. Can you tell I'm smiling? Please, God, get me out of here.
actually, someone's holding him hostage, and he's being forced to stay
Yeah.
there.
Next, we have Slightly Lost Boy, 4/3, 4 cost, 1 lore. If you have a character named Peter Pan in play, you pay 1 less to play this character, and he has evasive. I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's
Yeah,
similar to the Moana from earlier, with the same like stat line, but it's like
it's a narrow. It's narrow.
sometimes it's a 3 drop, and if you play it on 3 it's pretty good, but I think it's a little bit too niche. Like I said with Moana, she would have been played in set 1, but not necessarily now. I think it's the same with Slightly.
Yeah, obviously, this if we get a stories format Monday where you are playing a Peter Pan deck,
Exactly.
this goes right into this. But I don't unless we see something that is insanely good and we see stuff that interacts really well with stories. This is just for flavor. This if we maybe Ravensburger one day comes out and says, "Okay, we have enough cards. You have to play cards only from a specific story."
Oh, can
Or
you
something.
imagine in like 2 years they'd be like, all right, instead of set rotation and a ban list, we're going to change how you build your decks. You can only use 2 franchises.
Like that would be broken.
That would be crazy.
Because you see, like you think about it, you have just do Aladdin and Little Mermaid. Like those two would be busted together. You have
Yeah, whole new
all the Ursulas,
world.
all the Ariels, a whole new world, Jafar. Tell me that would not be gross.
No, it would probably be Ghosts. It would be fun to think about. I would love to see this as like a side event at
Mm-hmm.
World/fan events. Even at like nationals, I would love to see
Oh
a side
yeah.
event like that. Like side events are super interesting, and I think integral to keeping interest in a game that lasts for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically if a game has like one standard way of playing, right?
Yeah.
So having those side events just gives more people things to do that are like that's just different from the main format. If people don't like the main format, right? Like a lot of people didn't like set 2, a lot of people didn't like set 1 because of how like control-y and grindy it could have been. If we had like if we were doing like official events and we had a story format, I think a lot of people would have enjoyed that time a lot more than they did.
Mm-hmm. And hey, maybe we see something like this for the Glimmer Gauntlet in 2025. You never know.
Ooh.
Just little preview a year later for a year from now, even though we haven't even had the 2024 one yet. But yeah, that was Slightly Lost Boy. We have now a Stitch Little Rocket, 2 costed unequal, 3/1 with Rush, 1 lore. This is kind of just if you need. This is honestly a better uh, aggro defense card than the Peter Pan from earlier. I think. Obviously,
Yeah.
this only survives a turn. Basically, you're playing this and getting rid of something that turn. Other than that, I don't actually mind it in limited if you
Mhm.
don't if you're like because obviously I'd say 40 card deck, 5 of those, 5 to 8 maybe, but 8 is still pushing it. Should be uninkable, and this could have an uninkable slot there, but
I think that math can depend on like the cost of those
true.
uninkables, right?
Yeah, exactly.
As well as like some of the utility, like if the uninkable it can be is a song that also draws you a card that like Stormrage on like that probably doesn't really count that much. Oh, I think this is definitely a good card in limited. And if a format starts skewing towards aggro, this is just a fine option to have if your deck loses to aggro.
Hmm. Yeah, good limited card could be a good aggro defense card in the coming sets or coming format, honestly.
Exactly. Moving on, we have Trigger, not so sharpshooter. I love that. 2 cost, 3/1, 1 lore. Your character's name Nutsy gained 1 lore. Cute interaction with a bad card is makes for a bad card.
Yep. Nothing. Yeah. Nothing really. I gotta say, these fun, uh, little combo, I guess, in a story format, but still no.
Yeah.
The final character we have is Webby Vanderquack, enthusiastic duck, 3 costed inkable, 3/4 for 1 lore, vanilla, just fun pack
It's a
filler.
vanilla.
I'm happy that it included Webby. I think that was a nice touch. Obviously, we got different Duckbill
Beautiful
cards.
art.
Honestly, yeah, and I love her little flavor text. Finding lore is a lot easier when you have a grappling hook.
Yeah.
Uh, but other than that, vanilla.
All right. Next, we have the first action Dive Bomb. 3 cost. Banish one of your characters with Reckless to banish chosen character with less strength than that character. There are uses for this. Is it necessary? No.
Mm-mm.
Don't play this card.
No, do not. All right, moving on. Next card is I've Got a Dream. I feel like it's a forgotten card. We got this pretty early in the reveal season. This was before, honestly, reveal season even got started. This is a 2 cost inkable action song. Ready chosen character of yours at a location. They can't quest for the rest of your turn. Gain lore equal to that location's passive lore value. I actually honestly don't mind this. This uh say you want to build Ruby Emerald, which I don't know how good it is. It works with the Emerald not enchanted. Oh, yes, enchanted, but legendary Ursula that can sing something twice. If you're at a location with 2 passive lore,
Just gain 4
you
lore.
exactly. Uh, and so actually, I don't mind this. I think this could have a spot. I think honestly, it has to be tested to see if it does have a spot. But I think could be some archetypes where this does come into play.
I would love if this card was a cantrip. However, it's good. Specifically, will be insane once we get a location with 3+ or more lore.
Yeah, we didn't get any of those in this set, but we 100%. I feel like get one of those in the future.
I mean, so like you just use this to protect one of your things and then gain extra lore. Like
Mm-hmm.
essentially, this is like it is like a singable Eye of Fates that can give a character more than 1 lore,
Except, yeah, like yeah.
and that's less expensive. Good card.
Mm-hmm.
Next we have On Your Feet Now. 4 cost uninkable. Ready all your characters and deal 1 damage to each of them. They can't quest for us this turn. Hey, Hydra support.
Yeah,
Um, Dude, I feel like I've seen this line of text on like 15 different cards,
mm-hmm.
and like 2 of them were good, and
Yeah,
that was exactly Shield in set 1 and LeFou in set 2 with aggro.
yeah.
This is not good.
No,
Please don't play it.
yeah. Don't play this in aggro, or else your things are dying.
If I
Uh,
see this card in my rare slot, I'm going to cry.
I will eat it if I see it in a rare slot. I will eat it. Okay, I probably
Pin,
won't, but
pin it, chat, pin it.
clip it. No. Next card we have is Voyage. It's an action. 1 costed inkable. Move up to 2 characters of yours to the same location for free. This goes into location matters. If you obviously we have most expensive one move cost is RLS Legacy, which is 3. And once you get a character there, you only have to pay 1. So moving 2 there, honestly, if we do see a locations matters deck, this this plays into that really well. Anything doing anything for free, I feel like, is always a win.
I think my hottest take of this set is that this card is mid. Um,
I
I
thought you were about to
think
say like broken or
no.
god awful. Just
So
mid.
the talk around this card has always centered around doing something for free. Doing
Uh
something for
huh.
free is good. Something for free is insane. However, even now when I'm building decks, cutting to 60 is starting to get hard. And unless we go into a format where we have an insane amount of locations that do an insane thing when you move characters there, I think this I don't think you ever want to be playing this in in your deck as a slot. Like take
No.
like I there it's hard, man. Like I don't really see anything that I want to be taking out
Mm-hmm.
of Ruby decks or any deck in general for something like this. Sure, it's cool. However, if you just have the characters to move already, I feel like you're doing pretty good. Um, I think the best argument for this card is being able to move two cards to a location early. Like
Yeah.
the biggest problem with locations right now, I think, and going down the road for when locations actually really care about how many characters they have on them, is that there isn't a very effective way to get characters into locations super early. That's why Jim Hawkins is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think this does that very well, but am I gonna spend 4 slots of my deck to play a 1 drop that only is very good on like turn 3 or 4 and then pretty dead the rest of the game? I
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like I think this card is getting extremely overhyped because it says free, which I get. But I do think it's bait. Although I reserve the right to be wrong when we get locations that um, do insane things when characters move there, and then this procs those things twice.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I think this is kind of mid.
Yeah. If this was a song, this would be a whole lot better.
Yeah, I would take back everything I said if it was a song.
Yeah. What item do we have next? The first item of Ruby.
Yeah, one of my most interesting cards of the set, I think, Maui's Fishhook, 3 cost inkable. It's Maui time. If you have a character named Maui in play, you may use this item's shapeshift ability for free. And that ability is you tap the item, pay 2, choose 1. Chosen character gains evasive until the start of your next turn, or chosen character gets +3 strength this turn. Now, like I said earlier, there were Ruby Amethyst decks that were already playing Shadow, and I
Mm-hmm.
think this is probably just a better Shadow, especially if you can find Maui. And being
Mm-hmm.
able to give evasive to anything until the start of your next turn, which also protects it. This card is so interesting. It's like if I kind of combined the text of Merlin Crab and Peter Pan Shadow into one card and made it just kind of more optimal. I really like this card, and I
Mm-hmm.
think if Ruby Amethyst specifically continues to see play, I think you will see this card. And
Yeah.
if not in Ruby Amethyst, I think there's going to be something that plays this.
Yeah. I mean, we all know how powerful and popular Maui is. Play this down turn 3, play rabbit or a goat turn 4. And if this hasn't been Benjed out or wildcatted out, you play Maui and then you can go after anything on the board with him
Yeah.
because you can give him evasive, and if your opponent if your opponent does something evasive, it's not getting away from Maui. Six
Yeah.
strength is just too much. So yeah, I agree with you. This is really fun. I do really like this. I am excited to see it. It's
I
again
would
one of
say
those.
this is like a top 3 to 5 underrated card in the set for me
Oh
right
yes,
now.
100%. This is one of the cards I mentioned that just kind of makes Ruby Amethyst even better.
Yeah.
We do have obviously like other archetypes that could rival that, but I still think that deck is going to be really good. It
Yeah.
it, it never won't be good unless we see like a ban or. But I don't even want to talk about bans because I don't think they should be a thing at the moment, just because we're so early in the game.
Once OP starts, I think we can talk about it, but right now it's probably still just too
Yeah,
early.
yeah. But the next card, the final item we have, is the Sumerian Talisman. 3 costed, inkable, source of magic. During your turn, whenever one of your characters is banished in a challenge, you may draw a card. Nice draw for Ruby. Obviously, we know Ruby is not the greatest at drawing. That's why it's paired with Amethyst with all that draw it has. But, and obviously, this, when I first saw this, I didn't pay attention to banish in a challenge. I
Yeah. You,
wasn't
you, you, you thought it turned everything into Cusco.
I thought it just turned. I thought I was gonna say, like, when I play Be Prepared, I have this out. I
Yeah.
play Be Prepared. I get to draw. No, I've never played Yu Gi Oh, but they're known for not reading things. So turn on.
Words.
Yeah,
Words mean
words. Words
things.
do mean things. I still kind of like this. I think this goes well in maybe a uh, not Scar, Shere Khan. There we go. Two very mean tigers,
Yeah.
Mayans, whatever. But it does go in a challenge matters deck if we want to see something like that. And obviously, banishing is always going to be a thing in a challenge. So it could have a slot. I think this is another card that just needs testing overall.
Yeah. If there is a Cheer Con Challenge Matters deck that needs extra card draw outside of Queen of Hearts, maybe this sees consideration. Other than that, I think this card is quite unplayable right now.
Well, difference of opinion, I guess. But what is the first location we have?
We first location. For those who also don't know, locations are sideways. We have the normal cost in top left hand corner, and then we have the similar layouts. We have 2 numbers across the middle. One is their move cost, the cost you pay to move characters to that location, and then on the right we have the classic willpower, which is how much damage this location can take. And then the lore there, this is passive lore that you gain at the beginning of your turn as long as the location is there. So if I play Agrabah on turn 3, at the beginning of my turn 4, I gain 2 lore. With that being said, this is the vanilla stat line of the locations. 3 cost, 1 to move, 5 willpower, and 2 lore. I don't like these early vanilla locations specifically because there's too much that just answers them immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have something, if your location gets answered immediately, then you just wasted turn 3 or more to do nothing.
Exactly.
I think a big gripe with locations that I have in general is how weird the curve for them is. I am a
Mm-hmm.
huge supporter of cards that are good on curve, and I don't think locations besides like exactly Queen's Castle are good on curve. We'll talk more about RLS Legacy and curve in just a second. But for the stats right now, I don't like these vanilla ones. But obviously, they're vanillas, they're commons, they're pretty pack filler. I think this is very good in limited in
Yes,
a
that's
draft.
exactly what I was going to say.
If I'm seeing these 1/5s, I'm taking them a lot. But in constructed, I wouldn't expect to see the vanillas. Maybe besides the 1-drop vanillas, like ever.
Yeah. You said exactly what I was going to say. This is great unlimited, unbelievable unlimited, in my opinion. Common, so it's easy to grab. 2 passive lore,
Yep.
amazing. Just like with preliminary testing, that passive lore it racks up quickly, and if your opponent chooses to not deal with it, then you're gonna have you're gonna rack up lore easily, and obviously it doesn't hit back. So in a limited format, your opponent's
Yeah.
just gonna spend a turn getting rid of it, which makes them not uh, gain their lore on their side, but also it also opens up a challenge opportunity for you. So in that sense, any of these common locations that you can grab that are lower cost, inkable, even the one passive lore is still good. So
Yeah.
I would look out for those. But yeah, other in regular comp play, this sees no play.
Yeah, pretty much.
The next card we have is Jolly Roger Hook's Ship. So a one cost uninkable, two move cost, five willpower. Look alive, you swabs. Characters gain rush while here, and all hands on deck. Your pirate characters may move here for free. I guarantee you, we all know, we've all heard of the pirate deck that Ryan Miller loves. This card 100% works with it. We've already seen some stuff being thrown up with a Ruby Steel pirate deck. Uh, I honestly don't mind the pirate deck. It's fun. I think obviously this works well, and if you play a pirate down, you can control the board very well with this card. So
Hmm.
I actually don't mind Jolly Roger.
It's pretty cool card. It's a pretty cool card for a very cool archetype. I think
Mm-hmm.
probably the first real archetype in Lorcana we had princesses, but they were very loosely connected by Moana and Moana only.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is cool. I like this for the game. I like to see like design aspects going into archetype focused directions, as well as like being able to include pretty generic effects. And Jolly Roger does have generic effects, right? So like I don't love paying 3 to give something rush, so I would need like to be on like turn 5 or 6 for it to really be useful
Uh-huh.
in a non-pirate deck. But just being able to drop this down and then every pirate on turn 2 on has rush feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Only on the only my only gripe with it is like obviously no lore, so it doesn't really advance your win
Yeah.
condition besides just attacking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then my pick for the second best location in the set uh, is Arles Legacy Solar Galleon. 4 cost uninkable, sad. 3 to move, 8 willpower, 2 lore, and the ability. What is this? I gotta get the name of it. Yeah, this is our ship. Characters gain evasive while here, and then have to get heave together. Now, if you have a character here, you pay 2 less to move a character of yours here. Wow, wow, wow. So, overall, what makes a location good is being able to be played on curve and being able to not disrupt your game plan in any way, and then being able to stick on board, give you significant amounts of lore, and having a significant effect. RLS Legacy does almost all of that perfectly. It sticks
Mm-hmm.
on board gives you enough lore, and gives a very impactful ability in giving your stuff evasive very, 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 very well. Fantastic card. The things it doesn't do as well as coming down on curve and continuing your game plan. However, that's why Jim Hawkins is a good card. The only unfortunate part is that this is a 2 card combo for turn 5, and this does take an uninkable slot in Ruby. That is a knock against this, and it's probably the main reason why I think it's worse than Queen's Castle, because Queen's Castle is inkable, draws cards, gains 2 lore, sticks on board pretty much almost the exact same, and has a low move cost just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas RLS Legacy needs to actually have a card there. Now, those are marginal um differences, I think, because Jim Hawkins is a card. But
Uh-huh.
man, overall, I think this card is very good. I think we're going to see a decent amount of it this set. I think there are a lot of decks that this card makes very good that we just don't have yet, that haven't been tried yet. I think this card is going to be a staple for a very long time.
I agree. I think this has the chance to do a lot. And obviously, the Jim Hawkins combo, yes, like you said, it is a two card combo, but if you, it's so good. Like evasive is great. Two passive lore is great. I'm reiterating what you said, but it's like the pieces that make it up with all like the eight willpower, the two passive lore. It's so good. It will
Yeah.
stay on board for a long time, and as soon as you get a character there, you only have to pay one for such a
Yeah.
strong card.
So like this card, I think the only downside really is that it has the sapphire steel tax of
Uh
the
huh.
past few sets. If you don't open Jim Hawkins with this, it gets much worse and much slower, similar to
Yeah.
Sapphire Steel. If they don't open Fishbone Quill,
Mm-hmm.
um, you need. It doesn't feel bad per se if you don't have Jim Hawkins, but my God, does it feel very good when you do? Right, like this
Mm-hmm.
card specifically is just one of my favorite cards in Ruby. I, no, this is my favorite card in Ruby. I
Yeah.
think by a good margin. I think I really like this card.
Yeah. I I mean, I have to agree with you. This is nothing else really stands out. I mean, Hydra's cool, Prince Eric's cool, but just the stuff you can do with Jim Hawkins in this is endless once you get that out.
I should say I think RLS plus Jim Hawkins is my favorite
Yeah,
card
there
in
you go.
Ruby.
Yeah, those two cards
Those two
together
together.
work very well. Uh, I think, in my opinion, this was somewhat of an underwhelming Ruby uh, card pool. I won't lie. I think obviously, like we've said, RLS Legacy and Jim Hawkins have a place, and some other cards do have a place in decks, but not many big cards to come out of this. Any last thoughts on Ruby as a ink overall into the Inklands?
Yeah, I think this. I think like a lot of colors right now. Like Emerald got insane support all the way through. Amber got pretty good support all the way through. Sapphire got absolutely nothing. And Ruby is one of those things where I think it got very good cards, but they were peppered through the different rarities.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a top to bottom fantastic color, but like we have Ariel, which is just a good card. We have Medusa, which is going to go back and forth between Tremaine with being a card. We have Hawkins plus RLS, which is just a fantastic combo that will be played for potentially years.
Yeah.
We have Prince Eric, which is a very potentially a meta choice. But I think it'll be good eventually. We have Simba, which is just a good aggro card. Maui's Fishhook, which is super underrated. Voyage, which helps out location matters decks. I think it's a little bit less cohesive of a design on the set as a whole. Like I see that they were trying to do a few different things that didn't necessarily come together and feel very very good, but they still have like five to seven just good cards, and I think that is all you really need sometimes in a set where in a game where you get to play multiple colors.
Yeah, I agree. I think there are some fun cards in this set. Still, personally, somewhat underwhelming. I'm excited about other inks more than this.
I'll give it a tentative 3 out of 5.
That works. I'll agree with that. I think some good amount of testing will tell us truly where this ink lies. But yeah, that was the Ruby edition of our ink reviews. Franz, where can everyone find you?
All right, everyone can find me here on YouTube at Traverse Tavern and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Traversed_taverns.
Awesome. Well, yeah, again, thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Let us know what your favorite Ruby card is. And if you want to see more reviews like this, go check out our channel and subscribe. But that was all. Thank you, everyone, and Glimmer on.